Just because you don't have a tiny voice or a high-pitched voice does not mean you cannot sound feminine. That's a common misconception. Besides, the feminine voice has a whole lot of range. As you can see, my voice is not very tiny or high-pitched, but I do sound soft. So it doesn't matter if you've got a deep voice or a raspy voice. The 10 tricks I'll be sharing with you in this video will help you sound softer, more feminine, and sweet. Let's get into the video. Hello intentional woman, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ayani May. I know that my mic placement is a bit weird. I didn't want to hold it, so let's just make do with this, okay? Now the very first tip that is going to help you sound softer is for you to understand that a soft body equals a soft voice. When there is tension in your body, you will notice that it transfers to your voice. That is because your voice is not just about your vocal cords. It is connected to your entire body. Think about it. When you get tense, frustrated, or anxious, what happens? You either clench your hands, clench your jaw, or move sharply. And all of these increases tension all over your body, which can then make your voice sound sharper, harsher, or more forceful. You know what? Let's practice as you're watching this video. I want you to intentionally release all the tension in your body. And you can do this by taking a deep breath and releasing it. Now try to speak. You'll notice that your voice has instantly softened. It is a subtle shift, but it's very powerful. That is why the people who understand this, when they get angry, you notice that they take a deep breath and they release it. It's just a practical way of releasing the tension that comes from being angry before they speak, because they don't want their tone to sound harsh. So you can start making this a part of your daily routine. Now, number 2, end your sentences with a caress and not a drop. Some people, most people actually, end their sentences very abruptly, like a shoe dropping, bam, which can sound harsh. Instead, you want your sentences, your words, to gently glide to an end. Give it a soft landing, so to speak. I'm going to show you what that would sound like using some words. So let's say you want to say, what are you doing? Instead of just saying it the way I just said it, what are you doing? Which you can see very abruptly. You can say, what are you doing? I'm sure you can tell the difference. Another could be, instead of saying goodbye in a flat, neutral tone, you can say goodbye, almost like you're saying it to somebody you adore. Of course, there are nuances to this. You're not going to tell somebody goodbye when you're angry, but we're just assuming that everything is okay with the person you're speaking with. Another example, I'm very big on examples. Another example is, instead of saying, oh, that's lovely, very abrupt, you can say, ooh, that's lovely. You should practice along as you're watching this video just to see how it feels when you say it. I bet you'll notice that your voice is soft like silk, warm and inviting. Honestly, I had to analyze the way I speak to come up with some of these points, because I kept getting compliments and comments from some of the ladies, right, asking me to share tips on how I came to speak the way I do. And by the way, if you start speaking like this and it feels like you're pretending, that's all right. It's going to feel like that for a while because it's something new you're trying out. Don't stress about that. Just keep practicing, because before long, it'll be second nature. Number 3, use honey-coated words. Yes, I replaced sugar with honey. When it comes to sounding soft and feminine, it is not just enough to have a soft tone. Your choice of words matter, because some words are just too harsh. I think I'm saying harsh a lot, but you get it. Some words are hard, and for lack of a better term, maybe too masculine. I'll give you a couple of examples. So instead of saying, I hate that, which from the sentence alone is such a strong word or strong sentence, you can say, that's not really my style. Another is, instead of saying, that's wrong, which could be a very rigid statement depending on the situation and who you're talking to, you can say, oh well, I see it differently. A final example can be, instead of saying, Stop it. You can say, oh, don't be silly. Again, like I said, there are nuances to this. You cannot say, oh, don't be silly to somebody trying to hurt you. You do have to be forceful. We're getting that right? We are? Okay, so when you look at these words that I just shared with you, you will notice that there are softer, gentler alternatives. I am telling you, these little things can be the difference between you coming across as masculine and you coming across as feminine. So if you have other honey-coated words, please leave them in the comments. Let's learn from each other. Number 4, channel your inner femininity or elegance through pauses. So imagine somebody walks into this place now and goes, oh my goodness, I cannot believe it took me that long to realize that. Did you hear anything I just said? Does it sound feminine, captivating? It sounded rather rushed, right? But now imagine someone walks in and they say, oh my goodness, I cannot believe it took me that long to realize that. There's a significant difference, right? See, one of the secrets to sounding feminine and soft is in your pauses. It is not in having a high-pitched voice like some people believe, because not every woman has that type of voice. Some women's voices are raspy, some are smoky, some are deep, some are even husky. So this is where you can use pauses to sound captivating and feminine, because when it comes to speaking, pauses are not empty spaces. They are powerful. It gives your words the opportunity to land, the opportunity for them to be felt by your listener. And there are a couple of ways you can intentionally use pauses. The first is that you can take a pause before responding to someone when you're having a conversation. The second is that you can take a pause before and after important words. That way, the emphasis sinks in. Another way you can use pauses is that you can use it to replace filler words. That way, instead of you always saying, you can take a pause. And I'll give you an example. Like I said, examples. Instead of saying, I guess so, you can say, I guess so. I'm telling you, it is going to create an aura of mystery and grace. And you also come across as a woman who is grounded and who doesn't need to fill every silence with words. By the way, in another video, I took the time to explain the different feminine voices alongside foundational tips that will help you sound softer. Those tips are really practical. You can look at that video as the basic and this one as the masterclass. So when you're done watching this one, go watch that one. I'll link it in the description. It is a much loved video. I think it has over 200,000 views. In that video, one of the tips most people loved was where I said you should imagine that the person you're talking to is someone you have a crush on. I'm telling you, the ladies love it. Now number 5, and number 5 is a bit similar to number 4, and that is for you to use the 3-second rule to exude feminine mystery. If you notice that you are prone to giving instant responses when someone asks you a question, or you always rush to explain, or in some cases even over-explain, then the 3-second rule is perfect for you. This is where you take a full 3 seconds pause before responding to a question. Let's say someone just asked you, what do you do for work? Instead of rushing in and responding, I work in finance, for example, you take a pause before you respond. Of course, you don't want to just stare at the person when you're taking your pause. That can be weird. You can give them a little smile, look to the side, like you're thinking about it, and then you respond. I work in finance. And you? Another thing you can do when you're taking your pause is that you can brush off imaginary lint from your clothing while you're taking your pause before you respond. Now, if you are at dinner, and let's say it's a romantic dinner, you can take that 3 seconds to pick up your wine glass, and just before you take a sip, you respond. I work in finance. And you? That way, as they are responding, you're taking a sip of your wine. I'm telling you, instant feminine mystery. Before we get into number 6, I just want to take a moment to say, if you have been watching my videos, you're getting value, and you haven't subscribed, take a moment to click on the subscribe button, because I noticed from my back end that a lot of my views come from ladies who aren't subscribed. Don't let that be you. Please subscribe. It's free. And thank you as you do that. Now, number 6, never speak when you're walking fast. fast, except it's an emergency. Oh yes, I had to include that disclaimer because we can't speak in absolutes. You never can tell what would come up and you would need to speak while you're walking fast. That being said, if you have tried walking and talking at the same time, especially when you're walking very fast, you're rushing somewhere, you will notice that your breath gets uneven. Your words come out choppy and you sound frantic. This reminds me of a time when I had my friend, we were speed walking and we're trying to just, you know how you want to have a little bit of gossip with your friend? Well, I was so out of breath that I had to tell her, Madam, please hold on. When we're settled in, I'll gist you. The gist is not running away. It is nearly impossible to sound soft or calm for that matter when you're out of breath, as seen in this video.
While you're out, hi. Miranda needs you to go to Hermes to pick up 25 scarves we ordered for her. Okay. Cassidy forgot her.
So if you must speak while walking, like I said, when it's not an emergency, slow down your steps. Walk gracefully, maintain a steady breathing, and speak with ease. Like this.
This field alone produces thousands of barrels of palm oil. If we harvest many fields each year, we will have a continuous supply to trade.
Look at this. Now I do.
Vision is seeing what others do not.
You can see it makes all the difference. And by the way, I love that movie. Number 7, use the velvet and feather rule. So this is just a technique that can help you alternate between sounding feminine sensual and feminine playful. So sensual would be perfect for when you are with your partner or a man you like, and playful would be perfect for your day-to-day conversation, like when you are at work or at a social setting. So let's apply this tip. I'm going to use the sentence, I don't think that's a good idea, to show you the difference. But before I do that, let me just quickly explain what these two would sound like. When it comes to velvet, I want you to imagine your voice being warm, smooth, deep, and rich. And when it comes to feather, I want you to imagine your voice being airy, light, and playful, just like a feather. So let's put it into practice. For velvet, that would be, I don't think that's a good idea. I don't think that's a good idea. Then for playful or feather, that would be, I don't think that's a good idea. I don't think that's a good idea. You can see that deep and airy. Now the trick is to not use either of these voices every time. For instance, if you use your velvet voice every time, you will come across as too serious, intense, or dramatic. And if you use the feather voice every time, you may come across as weak or unsure of yourself. You want to blend both. That way you have a balanced feminine voice. Now tell me, what do you think of this tip? I was a bit hesitant to add it, but I liked how it can increase your feminine voice range, so I did. Let me know what you think in the comments. Now number 8, and this one is what I call the luxury perfume name exercise. This particular tip came to me when I came across the video of Rihanna trying to pronounce J'adore Dior.
J'adore Dior.
Voilà. That's good. Dior.
I cannot. J'adore Dior. J'adore Dior.
In that moment, I realized how luxury brand names, especially perfumes, can sound effortlessly soft and elegant. Think of names like Chanel No. 5. J'adore Dior, Jo Malone London. These names flew off the tongue with a soft, light, and almost luxurious quality. They never sound harsh. That's exactly how your voice should be when you're trying to embody your feminine voice. Think a soft, graceful, and delicate tone. Because if you wanted to say J'adore Dior in a sharp voice, it won't really embody the essence of the name. But when you soften your voice and you pronounce it, it makes all the difference. So pick 3 elegant perfume names and practice saying them in a luxurious and soft tone. Then try to mimic that tone in your day-to-day conversation. It'll take a bit of practice, but before long, you will notice that you're gradually developing a softer, more feminine tone. Now, number 9, mirror an elegant woman's speech style. That was a mouthful, right? Mirror an elegant woman's speech style. Yeah, that's a mouthful. Like I always say on this channel, there is nothing, when it comes to your journey, there is nothing you want to embody that another person hasn't mastered, which means you can learn from them. I literally filmed this video because you wanted me to share tips on what I did, which I'll do in the 10th point, which means you can learn from me. You can also learn from other women like Audrey Hepburn, Marilyn Monroe, and if you want to bring it back home, you can think of women like Nsekbetim. She sounds very lovely.
Hello everyone, this is Antique Betim, hoping that you have lots of fun and dance till the sun comes out at Anna Kennedy's Autism Dance Party.
Another person is the woman of the hour, Bam Bam. We all saw how soft-spoken she was in the movie Love in Every Word. So watch more of her, watch more of these women. Be observant and you'll notice beautiful feminine speech pattern that you can then use as a way to practice. And finally, number 10, practice, practice, practice. It took me years to speak like this. I started working on my voice when I was in secondary school. So for the Americans, that would be high school. The first thing I worked on was my accent. I didn't want to have the Akwa Ibom accent, so I was very particular about reading, about looking up how words are pronounced, because I wanted to sound as intelligent as I knew I was. Ooh, that was over 10 years ago. Now to sound softer, I started doing that about 3-4 years ago. So you need to be intentional with it. You need to choose because it's a choice at the end of the day to do what it takes to make your voice sound the way you want it to sound. You're not going to wake up one morning and start speaking softer and more feminine. It takes practice. You may have to set alarms on your phone. Yes, I did that. I used to set hourly alarms that would remind me to speak softer. So you may want to do that. You may also have to call on your friend to help you. My friend did that for me, and our code word was English please. So if I was having a conversation with her and she said English please, that would mean that I was either speaking too fast or too loudly. And the amazing thing about it was that within a week of us doing this consistently for each other, my brain was now the one kicking in and reminding me to speak softer. I would literally hear my brain tell me English please. So it's a change that can happen very quickly if you're intentional with it. Another thing you may have to do is get a wallpaper for your phone. Oh yes, at some point I had a wallpaper that reminded me to speak softer and more feminine. It said, "Hello beautiful, remember to speak softer and more feminine today." That way, every time I picked up my phone, I was reminded. I created that wallpaper with Canva, so it's very easy to do. These are just some of the techniques I used to stay intentional until speaking like this became a part of me. And like I said before, in the previous video I created about this topic, I share more practical tips that cover what to do if you have a loud voice, how to pronounce your P's, T's, and K's in a softer way, and even how your posture can affect the way you speak. I'll link it in the description. And that's it for today's video. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Do share them with me in the comments. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't, because on this channel I create content that helps you grow into the best, no, that helps you bloom into the best version of yourself for yourself. Trust me, you'll love it here. As always, be kind to yourself, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.